Hello. Hi, Michael. Looks like we're recording already. So, welcome everybody to the book review of Happy Pocket Full of Money. We're just going to wait a few more minutes until more people join.
Yo,
Hello, 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 Michael. How are you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad that you showed up, bro.
Yeah, I had to log on my phone. My computer was just giving me the spinning wheel of death for a little while. I don't know
I'm
what's going
sorry to
on.
hear that. Okay, well, let's get started, bro.
Who
All
else is
right.
here?
It's you and me.
What?
It's awesome. You and me, man. We get to share this with the world. Gratitude, all about gratitude, right?
I've been working on it all day, my man.
I know you have, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate your time. And so, with that, I said, let's get started. Do you want me to show I should share my screen, and we can go ahead and take a look at the document of it. Is that cool?
Yeah, just keep in mind I'm on my phone.
Yeah, I know. I assume that you are gonna go at your speed, and I'm just gonna try and show on the screen to everybody who's gonna watch the replay kind of what you're talking about. So let me just jump into Entrepreneurs Workshop right quick and go to the files section where everybody can go and grab a happy pocket full of money right there. And let's kind of go down to maybe the contents. Last time we talked about how money is an illusion, a shadow of something else. What are the steps of wealth and happiness, and how to read the book. And then we went into the quantum physics. Knowing what you and the world are made of is the first key to knowing how to make it your way. And then I think we were getting into the truth about time, which was about there is only one kind of time, and it's right now, as opposed to the past or the future. And I think you're going to touch on some of that stuff today when you get into goals, right?
I absolutely will. Sure. Yeah.
Great, great. So I believe we're recording. Double check one time. Yeah, we are recording. So let's start off kind of where we left off there. I think we're at the images of the mind, the blueprint of life. If that is where you think we were, go ahead and start wherever you think is appropriate, buddy. Hey, Sonny, good to have you. We're just
Funny.
getting started.
Why is I don't know why my camera is not showing, but
Okay,
so I'm gonna keep myself on mute. I'm preparing dinner, but I am listening to you guys.
great. Thank you for showing.
I had to.
You are awesome. We appreciate you. All right, Michael, take it away.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
Michael, how
yeah.
do you?
Well, if we left, I feel like jumping to chapter 4, the images of the mind, is a good one, but do we want to recap on anything else from those previous sections for the people who maybe haven't read it yet and were
Okay, quick
dig-
recap. 2 to 3 minutes.
so we recapped. I guess we left off where the quantum physics was talking about, and how everything in the world is made of matter. What is matter made of? Particles. What are particles made of? Atoms. What are atoms made of? Um, Molecules, subatomic particles. What are subatomic particles made out of? Energy. not literally made of energy, but just are energy. And when you understand that everything in the universe is just energy, like a wave, if you will, energy behaving the same way as light, it can travel instantly. It's just a wave. And realizing that you're no different than that, and everything is just like this little packet of quantum energy, whether it's a tree or you or whatever. And the thing that's powerful about humans is we have this mind that's aware of it, and that gives us immense power, because we are able to project images of the mind. You see that little segue into the next chapter? And when we project those images, we're literally putting that energy out there and kind of basically sending out instructions for the universe to receive and mirror back. And the images of the mind part is where we kind of left off of that. We were discussing how quantum physics has really moved from this sort of quasi-science field into really mainstream science, and they're really basically proving things that have been known for thousands of years, but putting it in real modern day scientific terms. There's been bazillion tests and theories and all these things done, with the main result being that you can't even control an experiment anymore, or conduct an experiment, without affecting the actual outcome by what you're looking for. The mere act of intending to look for something inherently affects the results you're going to get, because you're putting these images out there and looking for them back and interacting with them. So all these experiments nowadays have to be done in like double, triple, quadruple blinds, just to get like accurate information. So
Michael, that's awesome. Awesome. I wanted to point something out for our listeners, that when you are going out there and you're researching something, and if you're looking for truth, you're going to find it. But if you're going and looking for holes, you're probably also going to find it. And
which is a part of our strategy with the entrepreneurship. Like, that's why we don't give up the goodies about, being partnered with the Nagic, because if somebody has that information too soon in the process, then what do? They go out and look for a review of it, and they're probably going to find whatever their predetermined belief set is about it, one way or another. Plus, there's a lot of misinformation out there from competitors, and that's exactly what you're talking about. Does that make sense?
We are recording, Michael. So, as you mentioned, we don't give out the goodies.
Oh, well, that's
okay.
I was thinking we were.
We are recording. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Remember, this is a public forum.
Yes, thank you. I just remembered that. Let's let's move on. So, images of the mind. This one, I love this. Love this chapter. This chapter single-handedly is what prompted me to invest the better part of a day really putting my vision board together.
Can you show us?
The vision board? Yeah, I totally can. Hang on just a sec. Are you sharing your screen, Ahmed?
I am, but if you just point your phone to your vision board, then we can see it. Oh, you know what? Oh, I don't. Yeah, we usually do see the speakers. So let's see. I see. If I look at, well, I don't see you anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
When I make it big, large active speaker video. Oh, there it is. Okay, there. I see you now. So I made you real big. So go ahead and share your vision board. I wonder if I can make it maximum. Okay, or if I even stop sharing for a second, and then I maximize my view. There we go. Then we can see you real big on the recording.
Yeah, you can see me now?
Yeah, I see you're taking the majority of the screen. So go ahead and show the vision board that you have. Based on your screen now.
Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to turn this around. So,
Oh, it's still daylight over there.
yeah, so here's my office, blah, blah,
Beautiful.
blah. And this is my vision board. There's daily areas here. But this is everything that Simona and I have wanted to accomplish. A big part of this was writing down the goals. One of the big ones was debt-free, meaning our home and all of our bills are paid off. I wanted to get some LASIK surgery, a home recording studio, get my teeth fixed, get my pilot's license, visit her home country of Timișoara, Romania, a healthy body style for my age, foods, our dream home, you name it. I mean, it's on there. I put a lot of work into this, and every morning I've been getting up and spending a good like half hour doing my gratitude practices and kind of meditating on those images and trying to stay harmonious with them throughout the day. If I ever find my mind wandering off or kind of in a negative area or a dark area, I just come back to those images. I even took a picture of them and saved them as my screensaver on my laptop so that whenever I open my computer, boom, first thing, they're right there. They go with me in a journal. And it's been pretty powerful. A lot of those, I've had to take several of the things off already because we achieved them. And
Oh wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
So isn't it amazing that you are receiving those things? It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so in Happy Pocket, we learned that we are those things. You are as you think, and you will be receiving them. You are receiving them right now. As a matter of fact, the things that you dreamt of and that you put on your vision board are just coming to you right now, and you can give countless examples of those.
I can give a few examples. We were slow coming into the entrepreneurship with some capital, coming up with capital. And on the vision board, I had our first product that we really, really wanted to own for ourselves. And we own it now. Like some unexpected things transpired with our mortgage and refinancing our home, and we came up with some unexpected money that we weren't anticipating that allowed that. And that was a really awesome feeling to take those off the board. It went from this tangible imagination thing to it's downstairs in the house.
That is awesome.
And I love the part about it too, because you mentioned this just a second ago, how it's you have them, they're coming to you already, even though you may not be experiencing them now.
Hmm.
You are experiencing them. The more, even the simple act of holding those images in your mind through the law of attraction encourages them to come to you and you to them. It's just inevitable. And so it doesn't just work with material things. It works with people you want to meet, relationships you want to have, situations you want to find yourself in. I love it. And the coolest part about it was it kind of really tapped into this playful aspect of my mind where you get to be like a child and really use your imagination. I found it almost a weird feeling at first going through that process. And just like it's like a genie came down and said, I'll give you whatever wish you want, like
That's so cool.
you kind of like, really, this is a child story. Actually, that story came from a long time ago and wasn't originally a child story. It was part of a spiritual scripture. But side note, it's the imagination aspect of it is critical. Like even Einstein is quoted in the book saying that imagination is very basic, but it's one of the most integral parts of becoming wealthy. It's not just a nuts and bolts numbers game. You have to be very imaginative.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, people don't use their imagination anymore. They just
Yeah.
become compliant, just conformant to the standard, the status quo. And that is what differentiates those of us who are successful, who have found abundance, from those people who are not yet there. And so, if you guys, whoever is watching this, because this is a public forum, and this group where we're holding these book review sessions is open to people who want to learn more about happiness, more about wealth, more about abundance, more about entrepreneurship, how you can get there. So if you are at that point where you're trying to figure it out, just go back and dream, go back and imagine, and go back and pretend you have a genie that asks you, what do you want in life? If you could have anything you want, describe it to me. Tell it to somebody. Write it down in a journal. Even in Happy Pocket, the author mentions how writing things down is super important.
Yeah. And look at them oftenly. It doesn't do you any good to write it in a journal and then tuck it away. That's why I said I bring that journal with me. Like even when I've got like 5 or 10 minutes, I'm waiting for a phone call, or I'm, just got a few minutes to spare. I've been trying to get in the habit of, I've started like a video journal on my phone, like a folder of iPhone photos that I just kind of scroll through and keep those images in circulation in real time in the present. And one of those just came true last weekend. On my goals list, I was really, really, really being accurate about specific people that I would like to know and meet and converse with and be friends with. One of them was a particular artist. If anybody's familiar with the artist Alex Gray, he does those kind of weird, I don't know how to describe them. You can see through the human body and see the organs and the tissues and the circulatory system and the meridians and the chakras and like the energy fields. He's done some cover work for a lot of bands, like the heavy metal band Tool. He's the artist that did those cover works. I put it on my goal list to meet him and to know him. And then Sunday or Saturday, I don't remember which day it was last weekend, I was sitting here and my phone dinged. And it blew my mind, man. Like, I got a friend request from Alex Gray. Like, out of the blue, dude just requested to be my friend on Facebook. Now, did I meet him in person? No, but that just blew my mind. So,
did he happen to find you through your marketing?
What's that?
Do you think he found you through your marketing?
I have no idea how he found me. I have posted some of his pictures before on my personal page because I just like them, and I've shared stuff, but not any time recently. Those were shared months or even well over a year ago. And for whatever reason, the butterfly effect rippled out. He saw my name at some point on some feed or something or other. It was like, oh, I'll friend this guy. And it just totally blew me away. He's got like thousands of friends. So it's pretty cool. That blew me away. And that was like number, I don't know, 170 something down on my goals list.
Cool, Michael. That's awesome. So I think we were talking about the images of the mind, the blueprints of life, how you can use your imagination to, visualize where you want to be from where you are now. And then I mentioned how you need to go ahead and verbalize those things. You need to talk about them. You need to think about them, speak about them. So I highlighted that part. I think if you could make a transition to the thinking and speaking, or kind of continue on from where you were, but let's kind of take it on.
Well, one of the biggest aspects of that whole chapter is the concept of repeating to yourself repeatedly, I am wealth, I am abundance, I am joy. And it's very, 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 very important, as the book states, to go through those in present tense. As soon as the very act of saying, I hope someday to blah, 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 or I want to have $1 million in a year, or I eventually want to do this, you're putting out a future tense, which if the law of attraction works, then it's going to keep perpetuating that future tense and will make it this perpetually unachievable thing. So it's very, very, very important to say everything that you're on your goals list, or even that you're trying to manifest in present tense. And that's where the imagination comes in. It's fun to like be driving through the city and be like, I am wealthy, I am rich, I'm a baller, I'm what, whatever. Body that, because the more you feel it in your heart and in your mind and everything, the book says that's the energy that you're literally putting out. And through the law of attraction, that's what will come to you. It's almost like playing make-believe like a child.
The way I see it is kind of like more of, relationship with you and what the book calls the source or God. And
Yeah.
you believe in something and you tell yourself that I am this, the more you're going to do the actions that are going to make you manifest or become that, right? And the more you say, I am this, and you try to be that, then the more that God is going to make that be facilitated for you to achieve. But again, it starts in the mind. If you don't have the goals, if you don't have the passion, the drive, then you're just going to have a haphazard fate.
I love that it ties into religion. I mean, every major religion on the planet revolves around an element of faith and believing in something. So why is this any different? It's not, is obviously the answer, So when the very act of praying is basically manifesting. That's what you're asking for the source to grant to you.
There are some people who, they really, really do believe in prayer, and they swear by it. And they say, they'll go into like a prayer group and they'll really pray about something, ask the Lord for something, and eventually that thing will kind of appear. It will become manifest in their lives. And they just believe in the power of prayer. And in the book talks about that in terms of a meditation, really believing and having that certainty, which I know I'm kind of jumping to a later chapter, but having that certainty that not only will you get it, but it's already been there for you. You're just ready to receive it. So it's amazing.
I love that. That part is profoundly powerful, I feel like. Especially when it talks about the universe and God and whatnot. Like, there is no lack of abundance in the universe. Everything that you are made of, or that you will ever want or need, is already here. It's literally just a pattern of energy that happens to be arranged in a certain way that you need to attract yourself. It's just like, it's so awesome, man. This book blows my mind. I get a little just blown away by it.
Have you ever seen the old Star Trek? I'm sure you had, right? Where they had that that room where they could just ask this computer for something, and it would actually, like, a cup of coffee would just become manifest. I guess it would, like, kind of like how you can have a 3D printer right nowadays.
Right.
And literally, you have like raw material, okay, like the atoms, and you just say, you give it a program, and the program is basically, it begins with a thought, and you say, I want a cup of coffee, and it needs to be dark black, and it needs to taste like maple syrup or whatever, and it needs to be in a ceramic looking cup, and it's white, and it's about this tall, and boom, you give it the program, and you say, I want it, and it becomes, And just like in my faith, God says all he has to do is say be, and it is.
Yep.
All you have to do is ask for it, not beg for it, because in the book it says when you beg, you put yourself in a position of lack. But when you ask for it, you put yourself, and not even just ask, you actually become grateful for the fact that it's already there. You become grateful for things that you haven't even experienced yet, but with certainty that those things are there for you. All you have to do is ask. You just become grateful, and they will become manifest. So God will provide those things for you in your life, but it does start right here. You don't ask, you don't receive. You don't try, you won't get results.
It's where a lot of these old cliches come from. I mean, isn't there an old saying that says, ask and you shall receive?
Oh yeah.
I mean, who hasn't heard of that before? Like, honestly, like, where did that come from? It obviously comes from a reason. And I love that you mentioned begging. The very act of like begging or praying even for it to come from some outside source, you're already inherently disowning that it's your intention. You're praying for it to come from somewhere else instead of understanding that when you ask for it, you knowing that it's already been granted, like you said, and that it's just a matter of meeting it. When you're like, oh, you know, I want a new car. Okay, well, there's literally no car named a new car. Like if you went out to the dealership and said, can you show me a new car? There's like this infinite variety of things to choose from. Like, so
You are so right. I remember the
being,
last time I got a new car, and you're so right, Michael. My wife asked me, I want a bigger car. I'm like, okay. And so we just started looking,
well,
and like until until we got really laser focused on what she wanted, we were not finding it. So I said, okay, honey, look, I'm going to drive around the neighborhood, and you tell me what exactly car you like. And she pointed to a few cars, and when I found that, that is where it became, you know, easy for me to find that car and find it at the price point that I wanted, exactly the, you know, the trim, the body, everything that I wanted, and it just became just like that.
and staying consistent with that is a huge element too,
Exactly.
because if you're like, okay, I want that one day, and then the next day you're like, no, I want that. The book makes a reference to, I believe, like if you walked into a travel agency and said, hey, I want to go to Bucharest, or no, maybe I want to go to,
Moscow.
yeah, wherever, and you keep changing your mind, eventually they're going to be like, okay, well, you know what? Why don't you leave and come have it figured out what it is you really want to do?
Exactly.
Operates the same way. You can either be a product of whatever's just swirling on around you with no direction, or you can get really, really specific about what you want and stick with it consistently.
It's amazing. Michael, I went to the T-Mobile store today because I was thinking to myself, man, I need to upgrade my phone. But I didn't know what I wanted. So I went in there and I looked at the iPhone. And then I looked at the Samsung. And then I looked at some of the cheaper phones. And the sales people were trying to help me. But like, I told them, you know what, guys? I don't think I'm your best customer. They're like, no, you're a good customer. I'm like, no, I don't mean that. I think I'm not ready for the clothes. Because I didn't know what I wanted. And so I ended up leaving without buying anything.
No
And
phone.
another thing, people ask me all the time, like in the business, well, when am I going to start making money? You know, and I say to them, as soon as you put in the work that will allow you to make money. You know, so you have to do you have to do the things that are very specific that will give you the results that you want. If you're not sure, if you're not clear, if you're not really putting forth the effort, then you won't get it.
It's 100% true, and staying like it said, consistent with it. You know, there's one paragraph in here, one sentence I want to read really quickly that really nailed me. I have it highlighted and bookmarked. It says, "The state of your wealth externally is an extension and a testament of your state of wealth internally. How clear and certain you are in thoughts of wealth is evidenced externally."
Yeah,
So
so true.
that's it right there, right? If you like, if you want your outside world to reflect what's going on inside, it really, really does start with your internal wealth. And that's where the book gave rise to the term wealth consciousness, becoming aware of your wealth, your integrity, your being crystal clear on your visions and your imaginations and your internal wealth, and saying it in present time. It's such an awesome book. Like, it really blows my
It
mind.
is. Let's see if we can get through these 5 chapters. I know we've talked a little bit here and there, dabbled, but I'm going to be quiet and let you kind of go through that because we have about 15 minutes left.
Okay, the thinking and speaking chapter, is that where we were at? Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
thinking and speaking is so critical. Our thoughts go all over the place all day, nonstop, and that, you know, like that's why very successful people obviously have like routines. It's certain things they do. One of them being literally meditating on your images of the mind. Repeatedly throughout the book, that says life is images of the mind expressed.
Yep.
Life expressed through what you have in your mind. I mean, it says it over and over and over again. And we just talked on consistency, and also when you do it in a repetitive manner over and over, it becomes internalized. And that's where it really like clicks in. When it's internalized and it's a part of your core belief, that's unshakable. Just like when you say, I love somebody, there's nothing in the external world that can shake that. If you love someone with all your heart, that's it. It's done. Like it's, you know what I mean? Or if you believe something unfallibly, it doesn't matter what's going on in the external world. In your internal world, it's infallible and it's inevitable, and it becomes your reality. It's really cool. So the thinking and speaking, I know we're paraphrasing a bit, is largely about that. Be consistent, be specific, internalize it, and focus your energy on that. And when something negative pops up, just let it go. Get that out of your mind. Don't dwell on it, and immediately replace it with something positive that you're working towards. Or literally, we're just the sum total of our thoughts. I mean, we have these amazingly powerful brains that are just capable of so much. And when you really wrap your head around that concept that these external things that you want, that's just matter that's been materialized by thought, by your thoughts. So the whole chapter about thinking and speaking is basically tapping onto that. Every word that comes out of your mouth should be in congruence with what your goals are, and
Yes.
what your thoughts are.
He says, think about your thoughts. Be aware of your thoughts. Think about the thoughts that cause your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because the originating or the source thoughts are those that are strongest. And he says, be deliberate in what you think about and what you allow yourself to think about, because what you're focused on and what you focus on and what you pay attention to is what you will, in this case, manifest, or it's what you will become, and it is what you will experience in life. And he said, don't go and listen to negative news and stuff like that, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep.
It amazes me, it really does amaze me when people come to me and they have all these problems, and I just kind of ask them, you know, like about their outlook on life, you know, and what they were doing to try and avoid them, and they're just negative, you know. And I think to myself, well, if they just thought a little bit more positively, you know, and they applied themselves a little bit more, they wouldn't be in that situation. Again, I don't want to sound like a affluent snob, but
No.
it's a matter of you do have the differentiator that is differentiating people who are wealthy and those who are poor is your mindset. That is the one most powerful differentiator. And that's what this book talks about. It's really all about how do you improve your mindset so that you can make wealth come to you no matter, you know, what it takes. So that's my touch point on that. Go ahead, please.
I love that too, because you know, we could sit here and talk about manifesting all these wonderful experiences, but the truth is life has ups and downs. Just like a wave, energy is waves. There's ups and downs. And when you're in a situation, I love the one where he's like, if you're broke and you're kind of destitute and desperate and you're like, oh, well, that's great to sit around and talk about manifesting all this stuff. But the suggestion is like, nope, just own it. Look it square in the face, say, you know what, I am broke. But at the same time, you got to take responsibility for that. So just like these situations that come up that cause us to experience suffering or negativity, on a core level, you have to admit to yourself that you brought that on yourself at some point, either by putting yourself in some situation or not acting on something when you should have, whatever. There's an infinite myriad of possibilities of the way that could have happened to you, but it really puts the onus on you. And if that's the case, then the opposite is also true. If you got yourself into that, you can get yourself out of it just by your mind shift. And
well, that's a great segue into the next chapter, the roadmap to and in wealth. So can you talk about that? Goals.
So let me get to it here really quick, because that chapter is just, man, that's like everything. On my audiobook, I listen to that. I've probably listened to it 100 times. It's like on replay when I get in my car. It's just, it's important information. I want that ingrained. Well, the roadmap starts off with when you're setting your goals, setting them present tense, and knowing where you're going. Just like if you have a goal of, hitting a dartboard with a dart, right? What do? You got to look at the dartboard, pick your quadrant, and aim at it. It doesn't do you any good if you're out in the front yard of your house and the dartboard's on the second floor of the house. You're not going to try and hit the dartboard from the yard with a dart. That's ridiculous, right? So what do you need to do? You need to know where you're going. Oh, the dartboard's in the house. Okay, well, let me position myself from the yard to the house, to the room, to the right angle to get in front of it, and really zeroing in on how to get to your goals. And the very act of doing that will reveal the next step all the time. As long as you're staying congruent with your goals and committing to them, the next step will appear. Even if you have no freaking clue what it is or where it's going to come from, it will reveal itself because you're committing to a path. Like, nobody gets in a ship and just takes off in hopes that they run into their destination. If you left New York and wanted to get to Portugal, you don't just cross the Atlantic Ocean and go, I think it's over here somewhere. You gotta point straight at it and stay on course consistently, daily, nonstop.
I saw this meme and I shared it on my page. It was something to the effect of, you don't have to know the entire path. You just have to take the first step.
Yep.
And I think, what is it, Lao Tzu or whoever, or Buddha or somebody says, the path of 1,000 miles or whatever begins with a single step. So yeah, set the goal and be really clear on it and take steps toward that goal. Eventually you're going to make it.
And yeah, there's so many little one-liners in here that just blow me away. One of them I'd like to share is, simply know where you are going, and the answers as to how you will get there will come to you in their own time. Do not worry about it. Just simply believe you will get there. I mean, there it is. I believe in every ounce of my being that all of my goals on my list will be achieved and already are. I'm just on the way to meeting them.
Yes, exactly.
And one of the cool things about that chapter, the blueprint for your life, is talking about conformity and how that's really, really the enemy. It's so easy to be like, okay, well, you go to school, you grow up, you get good grades, you get out, you go to college, you get a job, you work, you raise your family, blah, 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 and that's the path. That's like almost instilled in us at a childish level, like early elementary school. That kind of mentality is like, so much emphasis on grades. Well, then any kid with half a brain is like, why does my grade matter on this? And what a teacher say to him, you know, well, your grades are important so you can get a good job someday. That's one way,
Yeah.
sure. That mean that that's the way for everybody? No, for sure it doesn't mean that. Like, how
It
could it
reminds
possibly?
me of Rich Dad Poor Dad when Robert Kiyosaki talks about how his poor dad said you got to get a good grade so you can get a good job and whatnot, and his rich dad's like, no, just go and start your own business, you know.
It's true. It's true. There's one sentence I have highlighted in here that still I read almost daily. Conformity can be your worst enemy. If you do what the crowd does, you will get what the crowd gets.
Yep.
Every day people morning go to work like everyone else and do things like everyone else, but ask them why they do it and they'll tell you that they
No.
just work hard all day because everyone else does. And their reason for working is that they wish to pay their bills and provide for themselves and their family. So
Another
yeah, that's all that your goal is. Cool. Knock yourself out. Have fun with that.
Yep.
That's not my path.
Yeah, live to work if you want. I'd rather not. I'd rather work so I can live and live the life that I want. Put the work in that will get me there, as opposed to live my life just so I can work another day. That's not what I'm at.
Your
What I'm
life
about.
goal, bills, is you might as well just put me in the grave right now if that's what this is about. Just paying bills. that's no.
I am not a corporate slave. I am free.
And with that comes, I mean, that's automatically going to put you in a little bit discomfort, you know, if you're going against the grain.
Yeah.
And that's one of the really cool things in the book is talking about, like, you really used to being out of your comfort zone. It's actually where like the magic happens. If you just play it safe and be in your comfort zone all the time, well, you're gonna get what everybody else gets, and that's just the way it is. Like, barring some miracle lottery thing or something, I don't know, but like, majorly speaking, that's what's gonna happen. So, the comfort zone. Maybe we'll leave that off, and that seems like a good pickup point for next week is getting out of the comfort zone, and because that goes into a whole.
We have a few more minutes. Maybe we can touch on these few things. We have like 3 more minutes. We can touch on being
Sure.
first cause, the beginning.
I'm sorry, say that again, Ahmed.
We have, I don't know if you can see my screen still. I am sharing it. Being first cause, the beginning, acting that which receives, and certainty, the most powerful force, and the antidote to failure. So we have just 2 more minutes. Just touch on anything of those 3 that you can.
I think the biggest one that resonates with me out of that is the certainty. It's an uncomfortable feeling at first. It was for me to tell myself that I'm wealthy.
Yeah.
I came from a pretty much lower middle class family, and belief system that was really, really ingrained in there. That took some work to get that one out of there. Like, I guess on a certain level, I was like, well, my parents never had a lot of money, and my dad just worked all the time, and you know, I guess that's what the cards I was dealt with in life. You know,
It doesn't have to be that way though.
No, and shaking that off and dreaming about not being like that is one thing, but believing it so deeply that there's no other alternative but that until my heart is convinced of it, not just my mind, but that I can actually feel that, like literally feel it, just like love. You know, like when you love somebody, you can't measure that in a bank account or in the external world. You just feel it so intensely inside that it's 100% true for you. And so, like, the convincing yourself that your imagination is real.
Oh, I've known that to be true since I was very young without having it taught to me. But I don't know. I mean, obviously, God blessed me with that kind of, intuition. I also came from very humble beginnings, to say the least. And I promised myself, I swore to myself, I would never grow up to be at the position where I started. I was going to be wealthy. And time has proven that since I didn't let that slip, I made sure that that was something that I was not going to, negotiate about. I was definitely going to achieve it. That's what's happening. That's what's happened. I am wealthy.
There it is. I am wealthy, I am abundant, and I am joy. I mean, there's 3 sentences couldn't be more profound, honestly.
That's
Might as
great,
well.
man.
Yeah.
So I think we've given a lot of value in these past 45 minutes. And our structure in how we're reviewing the book isn't as chronological, and that's fine as long as we're giving value. So next time, what we'll do is we'll probably maybe real quick brush up on some of these, and then we'll go into cause and effect, the prime law of the universe, and conditions, and because we have 2 more meetings, so we have from there all the way to the end of it. I think we can do it.
We can do it.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much, Sunny. And I'm going to end it now. And
thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to submit this in the group, and we can let everybody else watch the replay.
And Sonny, thanks for tuning in, even though you got your hands full with everything, man. It's awesome. Love having you here.
Well, it was tons of value, as I said. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right, guys. Bye.